Welcome to Takis. My name is Mrs. Ramlal. This video is on the section Animal Tissues. This is a theory video and I will be discussing cloning. Right. This video is a bit of an introduction to what you'll be doing in grade 12. So the work is a bit cut down or limited or reduced, but it's very important you know this content for matric. Right. In this video, we'll be doing therapeutic cloning and reproductive cloning. Now, therapeutic cloning is also the use of stem cells. Now, what are stem cells? Stem cells are undifferentiated cells, meaning these cells have not become any tissue or organ, but these cells are always undergoing mitosis. And these cells can turn into any organ or tissue. Now, where do we get these stem cells? You can get them from the embryo. You can get them from adult stem cells. So, embryonic stem cells come from the embryo, adult stem cells come from bone marrow, blood in the umbilical cord, and in the placenta. Now, therapeutic cloning is legally permitted, but there's an ethics commission that you have to actually apply to and for permission to do this, and they come and check that you follow all the rules and regulations. Now, what are advantages of therapeutic cloning? If these stem cells can grow into any tissue or organ. If a person's in an accident or they have cancer, you can grow them a new organ and you can save their life. You can improve the quality of their life as well. It's your own cells, so there's not going to be organ rejection. There's no need to wait on the organ donor list, which is 5 years long. You can store the stem cells till you need it. And then, of course, if we're studying stem cells, we can advance with science. Right. Disadvantages. It's expensive. It is about 40,000 Rand to store your child's stem cells till day 21. It's a lot of money. Only rich people will be able to afford that. So, the embryos can be aborted. So, a woman will just fall pregnant, abort the embryo just for the use of the stem cells. Embryos can be stolen and sold on the black market. It is unethical, immoral, unnatural. It goes against religious or cultural views as human beings are playing God. If you don't believe in God, you can say against Supreme Being or Divine Being. It's unnatural. It will lead to long-term unknown health side effect. So with cloning, you must know what cloning is. You must know advantages and you must know disadvantages. What I would also recommend that you do is have an opinion on cloning. If they ask you, should stem cells be used, say yes or no, choose one of them. Don't say maybe. And then your reasons. If you're for it, you can take some of the reasons from the advantages. If you're against it, you can take some of the reasons from the disadvantages. Right. Let's get to reproductive cloning. Reproductive cloning is where you produce an individual that's genetically identical to the one that is produced. Now, we cloned Dolly the sheep, and Dolly the sheep did not live long, and there were many attempts before Dolly the sheep was attempted. That was the first sheep to be cloned. In South Africa, we cloned Futi the cow, because Futi was a champion milk producer. Now, they take an ovum from a rabbit by surgery. Yes, so there's the ovum from a rabbit. So we're going to try and clone a rabbit. Maybe this rabbit is aesthetically very beautiful, and people want to keep it as a pet. So there's the ovum from the rabbit. Now, you remove this nucleus from the ovum because you do not want this nucleus. So you discard it. Then you take an actively dividing somatic cell, as you can see in my picture, and you use microsurgery to remove that nucleus. But that is the nucleus that we need. You see, a somatic cell has a full set of chromosomes. And in here, that is where the desired characteristic is that we want to recreate. And you take this nucleus and you insert it using microsurgery into the ovum of the rabbit. And then what you do is you expose the ovum, to an electric shock. And then this ovum will turn into an embryo, and then You can implant this embryo into the rabbit, the surrogate rabbits that you have, and you'll have many embryos. And whichever embryos will implant, that embryo will then turn into the rabbit that we want to recreate that was aesthetically appealing, that had the nice characteristics. So here's the processes here, and it continues on the next page. Now, let's look at pros and cons. Now, why do we clone plants and animals? We want to produce individuals with desired traits, yes, to eliminate unwanted characteristics. Okay, good. Better yield. When it comes to plants, better yield means large amount of plants, so we can feed the growing population. We can make these plants resistant to diseases, so we can save the use of pesticides and herbicides. Because pesticides and herbicides lead to or cause eutrophication. Organisms are produced in a shorter time to increase the yield, yes. Endangered species can be saved without the need of a mating partner, as in breeding programs. And you can produce offspring for organisms that are infertile and that cannot have their own offspring. So those are the pros. Cons. Objection of all religious beliefs, as cloning interferes with God's supreme being or creation. Yes. Reduces the gene pool by reducing genetic variation because we're only creating them the way we want them, with one characteristic. Can lead to developmental or morphological problems. The clone might not live long. Dolly only lived for 5 years. It's very expensive. Not all people can afford it, and the money can be used for something else. It can generate more waste and cause ethical issues to get rid of the waste, and may lead to cleaning of clones for spare body parts. Right. Here also, I recommend that you have an opinion, whether you agree reproductive cloning should take place or not, and your reasons. If you're for it, you can take your reasons from the pros. If you're against it, you can take your reasons from the cons. Make sure you know this for matric. This is a very nice section. You will learn it more in detail in matric under the section of genetics. Thank you for joining me and watching this video. Join me and watch all my other videos as well.